first of all. So we're going to start by spreading our toes really, really super wide. For those of you who are interested in breath work and things, Wim Hof, who's the Iceman thing, he's similarly got a big write-up in the Times today, but I don't subscribe, so I can't read it. but it's the headline's Wim Hof. So he's the one who does all the breathing and then going into cold water for cold water therapy. So we're going to stretch our feet really, really wide, and we're going to lift our big toe up independently of the other toes. If we're trying to pull it away from the foot, so we're trying to separate, make space between the two parts, between the big toe and its neighbour. Then we're going to lift all our toes up, and we're going to put just our big toe down. Good. Then we're going to lift all our toes up, and we're going to put our little toe down. And then we're going to lift all our toes up, and we're going to put our big toe and our little toe down, keeping our middle toes nice and elevated. Good. We're going to shake that foot up, off, and then we're going to go for the other foot. So stretching our toes nice and wide. Lift our big toe up. Then we're going to lift all our toes up and put our big toe down. And then lift all your toes up and put your little toe down. And then lift all your toes up and put your big toe and your little toe down, and keep the middle three elevated. Right, I'm going to spotlight you while you try that again with both feet. So exactly the same thing. So you're going to lift your big toes up and put your big toes down. Maybe everybody. And then you are going to lift all your toes up and put just your big toe down. And then you're going to lift all your toes up when you're ready, of course, and put your little toe down, both of them. And then you're going to lift all your toes up and put your big toe and your little toe down. So this morning's class is a beginner's class, and then the next one after this is intermediate. So we're focusing on the standing poses, but we're going to go back and do the nice breathing lying down ones at the end as well. So it's a nice slow class to start with this morning. So I'm going to explain everything in great detail, but we're also going to move. So we're going to have our feet hip distance apart now. We're going to have knees nice and soft, and you're going to place your hands around your rib cage. Good. I want you to think, when we're doing all of these poses now, we've all been doing this for a while. So this is like a refresher. So we're going to place our hands around our rib cage, fingers to the front, thumbs to the back. And as you open your rib cage on the inhalation, I want you to really focus on the rib cage, really stretching all the way around. So not just the lateral movement. I want you to think about your thumbs moving behind you as well. I want you to feel the little bit of movement you have at the front as well, because we want them to uniformly open. We're just stretching them out towards the sides, but the front and the back will move as well. What we're avoiding when we do this breath is we're avoiding this thrust forward like this. So we don't want to be doing this. We want to make sure our ribcage stays on top of our pelvis, but we get this beautiful stretch of the diaphragm. And that's the most important thing that we're doing here. Good. Take it super slowly. We're going to do one more, focusing just on this. And then we're going to have a little bit of a focus on the next 4 breaths on what happens with our spine and our back and our sacrum. So as we inhale and stretch our ribcage out towards the side, I want you to think about what happens with your coccyx and your spine. So I'm going to really over accentuate this, yeah, so that you get an idea. So with your coccyx, as you inhale, your coccyx comes out the back. It's like it unfurls, like it opens up. And when it unfurls, it lengthens through your spine. So it lengthens this way. And then as we exhale, we're going to keep that length as we exhale, and we're going to visualize the coccyx tucking underneath. So the coccyx is tucking underneath, but we're not actually doing this rocking movement with our pelvis. We're just visualizing what happens with the big, deep, kind of extensor muscles. So you can either have your hands around your ribcage or hands by your side. And we're thinking about what happens in our pelvis. So as we inhale, nice big inhale in, your ribcage opens, and you think about your coccyx length. It's almost like it lengthens up towards the ceiling. It unfurls and it pulls everything with it. Everything draws the coccyx up. And then as you exhale, the coccyx curls back up underneath. But it's all with the deep, deep muscles of our stability and alignment muscles. So nice big inhale. Good. And then an exhale, thinking about that coccyx, almost like lengthening our spine on the exhalation. So it's like almost like it releases and then extends on each exhale. Okay, one more like this, thinking about this. Good. So it's more about bringing awareness to how important the pelvic diaphragm is for our posture muscles as well. So then we're going to take a balance point forward onto the balls of our feet. We're going to keep everything exactly how it is. So we've got a nice neutral pelvis. ribcage stacked on top of our pelvis. Nice shoulders, so they're nice and relaxed. So we want to bring them up towards the ears and then just drop them down. Balance point forward. Now, we're going to think about the big toe, little toe and heels. They're all nicely uniformly represented on the floor. It's just that the balance point shifted. We're not placing more weight on the toes than the heels. We just shifted that balance point. So we can shift it back over towards our heels and feel our toes still on the floor. And then come forward, shift it onto the balls of your feet. Feel everything still on the floor. So you might you're weighted a bit more towards the front, but you're not pressing loads of pressure into your toes. Good. Okay, then from here, because we've been coming for a while, I'm going to talk you through this. We're going to stretch our hands out towards the side, so palms face forward. That's it. We're going to think about lengthening through our fingertips. So we're going to pull our shoulder blades together behind us, and then we're going to sigh our shoulders out towards the sides. Good, so we've got this nice length across the back. If you imagine a nice flat surface almost. Then armpits draw towards your hips. I want you to imagine an imaginary wall behind you that you're pressing the backs of your arms into. Your knees are relaxed. Good. Now think length. I want you to think about the length coming from your heels. It's like the length is pressing all the way up from your heels, all the way up through your bottom, all the way through your lower back, through your mid back, all the way up through your neck to the crown of your head. Good. Still knees are soft, toes are relaxed. You can wiggle your toes. Now 3 nice slow breaths here. Take your time, super, super slow. As you inhale, think about what's happening with your spine. So as you inhale, open your rib cage. Think about your spine, the coccyx unfurling. And when you do exhale, think about the coccyx curling underneath and that length coming from your spine as you keep your head pressing up the way as your coccyx moves down the way. So 3 nice slow breaths, and then you're going to pause and your apnea breath. Keep thinking about pressing the backs of your arms, the backs of your rib cage, the backs of your pelvis, the back of your head against that wall and the back of your heels almost. Good. 3 deep, slow breaths. And when you're ready, after your 3 breaths and your apnea breath, take as long as you can. All you're going to do is turn your hands over. You're going to turn from the wrist. So what we want to do in hypopressives is we want to start the kind of tightening from the distal, the furthest away point. So we're going to turn from the wrist, the elbow, and the shoulder. So we make sure that the tightening comes from that really far away point in our body. So we're doing nerve tensioning rather than nerve flossing. So pressing your arms again against that imaginary wall, and make sure that you press in the back of your rib cage there as well, and the back of your shoulders. You're thinking about this length in your spine as you inhale and exhale. Good. And really try and find the biggest rib opening you can. And as you knit your ribs together, think about this ascending breath coming all the way up through your body. Take it super slowly. 3 deep, slow breaths. And then your apnea breath. Good. Once you finish that one, we're going to shake our arms off. And give them a good shake all the way up and all the way to the other side. Nice holds. Good. Then from here, when you finish this one here, we're going to come back into this position, opening. And I want you to think about the stretch actually happening from your fingertips all the way through your spine to the other fingertips. So that's your stretch in your body here. It's like a stretch from side to side. And then we're going to take this up to shoulder height and feel that stretch from side to side at shoulder height. And make sure you can still see your fingertips in your peripheral vision. We're still thinking about pressing the backs of our arms against that imaginary wall. Balance point is still forward. We're still thinking about our coccyx each time we inhale and exhale. So take your time. 3 nice slow breaths here and an apnea breath. Remember your head position. So as you're doing this, you want to think about your chin drawing back a little bit. So you're listening to a conversation behind you, but you're not tucking your chin to listen to it. And you're not listening to it with your head in the air or your chin in the air. So thinking about this pulling back. But you're not pulling back so far that you change the tone of your voice or the pitch. You're just pulling back so you can still talk with a normal tone. It's a good way to judge whether your neck's in the right place or not. Good. Balance point slightly forward. 3 nice slow breaths and your apnea breath here. When you finish this one, again, take your time. You're going to shake your arms off. Good. It's almost like the beginner ones are slightly harder because we're going to hold the pose for longer. This time we're going to a really upwards V position. So you might not be able to see my hands because of this camera angle, but my hands are pointing forwards. I want us just to start with one arm because I want you to really feel the stretch. And this is important to feel in all the hypopressive poses. This stretch is a full fascia stretch of our whole body. And it comes from the top of your foot on this side. And it comes all the way, it wraps around to your heel and comes all the way up across your back, diagonally, and into this arm up here. So I want you to think about the stretch not coming from your shoulder. I want you to think about it coming from that foot. So you're lengthening all the way through. Good. Now we're going to add the other one. So we're going to add the other stretch. So the other hand is coming from the opposite foot. So we're really using, you should feel your back muscles. You should feel your back muscles being used to hold your arms up and to reach. So it's as if you're trying to reach something just outside your grip, pressing the backs of your arms against the wall, lengthening through your spine, and balance point is forward. Knees are soft. 3 nice slow breaths here. And as you're doing this, I now want you to think more about your back. Think about your back on the inhale. What's happening to your coccyx? As you exhale, think about that coccyx lengthening away from you. As you lengthen your head towards the ceiling, so we get this beautiful stretch of all these big, big back muscles. These deep the latissimus dorsi and then the deep multifidus as well. As we do the rib opening, we actually pull on the really, really deep back muscle, the multifidus, which is like, it's one of your big, big stability muscles and one of the ones that helps with your posture the most. So we really want to focus on getting ourselves beautifully aligned and really think about the stretch through the fascia so that it's helping to support your back as you stretch through the muscle chains. Good. And then shake it off when you're ready. It's a lot to think about, isn't there? And then balance points forward. Again, so when we're doing this, this is an external rotation. And this is a really nice one for keeping us nice and open across the shoulders. But even with the internal rotation, which activates more of our back muscles, we still want to keep this nice openness across our shoulders. So we're going to start with our hands pointing out towards the sides again, palms face forwards. And then we're going to rotate them all the way around, so palms face behind, extend our wrists so fingers point out in front. And this is nerve stretching. So we're starting to stretch the nerves. Then we're going to leave our elbows where they are. So we've still got this beautiful openness across the shoulders. And we're just going to bend our elbows and bring our hands in. So nothing's changed about the orientation of our shoulder blades here or our chest at the front. Then we're going to visualize drawing our armpits down towards our hips. I want you to really think about stretching across those shoulders and across those chest muscles, but make sure that when you do, you don't start popping your chest forward. So we really want to keep it nice and aligned still. Balance points forward. 3 nice slow breaths here. If this becomes too much for your wrists, you can make a fist and it takes the nerve stretch out of it, but leaves the muscle stretch there. So 3 nice slow breaths. And then as you're doing this, think about your back muscles. So we've now really focused much more on the shoulder girdle. So we want to think about that shoulder girdle being nice and strong. And when we do our apnea breath, we want to think about that shoulder girdle almost moving up with the ribs, but still staying down. So we're not moving the shoulders up like this, but we want to think about it almost like expanding and lengthening more when you do the apnea breath. Very nice. And then from here, we're going to stretch our hands out towards the side again. And we're going to find this nice openness in our shoulders again. And then balance point still forward, knees are soft. You're still thinking about lining everything up. We're going to rotate from our wrists again. So we're going wrists, elbows, shoulders. And then we're just going to draw our hands into that second position. Still, nothing's changed about the position of our chest muscles. Pressing forwards now and visualizing that really nice strong wall behind you that you're pressing the backs of your shoulders and your ribs into. And we're doing 3 nice slow breaths here and your apnea breath, thinking about all the things we've just been thinking about. Nudging with your elbows, armpits towards your hips, lengthening. So as you do your inhale, you're starting the lengthening. And as you start to exhale, you're continuing the lengthening. Feel your toes, make sure they're nice and relaxed. Feel your heel, make sure you're not pressing down with your heel either. The balance point is nice and gently on the front balls of your feet. Good, these look good. Excellent. Okay, take your time. The slower we do these movements, I know they get faster almost when we go further up, but the slower we do them, the more we get from them. So when we come to it next, we're going to start with our arms up in a high V, and I'll talk you through it because people are finishing their apnea breath. So we're going to be in a high V, and we're going to think about those things we were just thinking about, where we're stretching from one leg all the way up to the opposite arm, and the same, all the way across that massive great big bit of fascia in the back of your body. And then all we're going to do is we're going to turn our wrists, our elbows, and our shoulders, and we're going to bring our hands in so they are in third position. Again, nothing's changed about the orientation of the rest of my body. all that's happened is I've tightened the muscles more by internally rotating. So if you're pressing the ceiling away, drawing your armpits down your back, balance point is forward, and then 3 nice slow breaths here, thinking about that beautiful long stretch we've already got through our back. Visualize the coccyx. And as you exhale, think about this rising inhalation as well in your abdominals. So as your coccyx curls back underneath on the exhale, the bones at the front draw together and they start to squeeze the abdominals, and it's a rising squeeze all the way up like an ascending breath. Brilliant. Excellent. Once you finish that one, you're going to shake your arms off. I'm going to mix the two together for the next bit. So we're going to add some rocking. So before we start the rocking, we're just going to feel the rocking. So you're going to come forwards when you're ready. So just take your time to finish your pose. And then when you're ready to inhale, whenever that may be, you're going to rock back into your heels, but you're going to keep your toes on the floor and keep your body nice and long. And as you exhale and that coccyx curls underneath, you're going to come forward and feel that lengthening through your spine. And then as you inhale and come back, it's as if you're just drawing everything back, including your coccyx is coming up your back. And then exhaling, drawing forwards. Good. Just finding your balance, finding your proprioception. This is great for your neurons in your mind as well. The rocking is just an amazing thing to do. Good. Let's do one more. Inhaling back and exhaling. As we come forward, we're going to come forward with our hands externally rotated. So as we inhale and rock back, we're going to inhale and we're going to rock back into first, and then exhale, come forwards. So I want you to think about, as we rock back, keeping that nice wide open shoulders, and almost as we come forward and open, we want to think about that opening and lengthening. So when we're doing it this way around, so you think about the lengthening more. Good. So you're going to do 3 of these. So just when you're ready, start with nice stretched out, think about everything lengthening. And then as you inhale and come back, keep that stretch across your shoulders. And then as you exhale, coming forwards, opening up, pressing your arms back. And then inhaling, drawing back again. Good. And then as you exhale, pressing yourself forwards again. Nice. And do your third one. So as you inhale, really think about that, drawing your armpits, nudging with your elbows, thinking about the tensioning. And when you're ready to exhale, you're coming forwards in your own time, pressing your arms back, feeling that openness, that length already. And then your apnea breath. And think about the length continuing up through your abdominals, up through your head, up through your spine, for that really long exhalation pose. Lovely. Hold that when you're ready for as long as you can. And if you've finished, give your shoulders a shake, give your shoulders a roll. Good. Okay, so we're going to start for the next one at shoulder height. Again here, I want you to feel the openness first before we start. Good. Knees pointing straight ahead. Check your knee position. Lengthening through your spine already. Thinking about that real length. And then as we inhale, we're going to rock back into second. So as you inhale, we're drawing back, really keeping that shoulders nice and open. And as you exhale, you're pressing forward and think about growing much, much, much taller. So the lengthening is super important. And then inhale, drawing back again. And then as you exhale, pressing yourself forward. Think about the length coming from your spine and from your abdominals. And one last time. Inhale, coming back. Everything's preparing for the exhale. And then exhaling. Think about the stretch through your spine, through your abdominals. Pause and open your rib cage. Armpits are drawn towards hips. Arms are pressing back. You're just continuing that length you started in the exhale. And again, when you're ready here, shake it all off. Okay, so we're going to the upwards one, and then we're going to do a quick sitting reminder, and then we're going to lie down. So we're starting here again with this nice openness. I'm thinking about this opening from your opposite foot to your arms. Shoulders draw down your back. So it's almost like we've got 2 opposite movements happening. Then as we inhale, we're going to rock back into our third position. So we're ready to go. Press with these arms. Let's go. Inhaling, rocking back nice and slowly. Think about this as a preparation. You're almost like filling yourself up to become like a rocket of strength as you come forwards. Good. And then inhale, coming back again. And then exhale, pressing your arms back as you draw and get taller, 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 taller. And again, for your next inhale, you're coming back, and this is your last inhale. And as you exhale and come forwards, you want to think about that coccyx lengthening almost down the way to create more length in your spine, your abdominals lengthening up the way to start moving the exhalation out. And then your apnea breath is a continuation of this length that we're creating through the inhale and exhale in our spine. Good. Well done. Okay, so we're going to have a quick look at the sitting pose, and then we're going to come down to supine poses. So you can choose which way you want your legs. You can either have your legs crossed, or you can have your legs out in front of you. If you need a block or a cushion underneath, it's super important that you get this position where you're sitting right on your sit bones to begin with. So if you feel that it's too tight and you're rolling back into your sacrum at all, just find a wee cushion or something to put your bum on. Okay, so you can pick whether you want your legs crossed, your legs out in front of you, drawing back with your heels and your toes, or your legs like a little diamond shape or frog. It just reminds me of a frog. Okay, so from here, we're just going to do two poses, and they're both moving. So we're going to have our hands in first position. Here in first position, we want to think already. So we've already thought about this building of the tension, drawing in. So we want to find that tensioning here in first position. Think nice and broad across the shoulders. And here, I want you to really focus on your sitting bones now, because they do the same thing as your coccyx. So every time you inhale, I want you to think about this inhale, this widening, and that's reciprocated in your coccyx opening up. And then as you exhale, your sit bones draw together, that's your coccyx curling back underneath. And then on the apnea breath, we're going to move one arm up, nice and slowly to the top. Okay, ready to inhale here. I'm going to count you 3 and 6 and 12. Inhaling 1, 2, 3. Think about that length we're creating now. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Lengthen. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close your mouth and nose. Pause. Stretch that rib cage. As you start to stretch your rib cage, start to press one of your hands away. Again, we're keeping the nice openness across our shoulders, the nice wideness across our shoulders. Our shoulders are staying down as we bring our hand up, super slowly. When you're ready to inhale here, we're going to inhale in position and exhale, bring it back down. So again, as we move this up, we're thinking about the way that we're using our back muscles. So when we're pressing down, it's almost like our back muscles are purely pressing down the way. As we bring it up to shoulder height, it's as if our back muscles are being used to press forwards. And as we bring it back, our back muscles have been moved to press up, but at the same time, our shoulders are drawing down. We've got two different movements going on. So feel that as we move. Okay, let's start for the other arm. Ready to inhale. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close your mouth and nose. Pause. Open your ribs. Start to move the other hand up. Think about the positioning and how it's feel what's going on in your back. Keeping that tensioning. Always pressing out with the hand and drawing down with the shoulders. Good, but feel the movement. When you need to inhale here, we're going to inhale in position and exhale, shake it off. Excellent, well done. So we're going to come to supine now. So we're lying down on our backs. Good. Knees are bent, our feet are flat on the floor. So for this one, the first one, when we come down here, as you start to position yourself, I just want you to start breathing as if you, again, thinking about what's going on with your coccyx. So we're going to have a nice neutral pelvis, rib cage is stacked. And I want us to think about our back and our spine as we inhale and exhale. Feet are just flat on the floor. So we're going to do 3 nice slow breaths. As you inhale, I want you to feel, it's almost like, let's exaggerate it a bit. So as we inhale,
I want you to feel like you're slowly arching your back off the floor. And as you exhale, I want you to think about that, tucking the pelvis underneath. And the lower back will come closer to the floor. I don't want it to touch the floor, but just get that feeling of opening and closing. So as you inhale, you're thinking about, feel the coccyx arching away, like it's drawing up your spine. And as you exhale, feel that coccyx tucking back up underneath. So we're doing it, we're moving the muscles much more than we would because we're using the accessory muscles along with the extensor muscles at the moment. So do 3 and then an apnea breath. Take yourself back to neutral on the 3rd exhale. And then an apnea breath. Good. Now this time, once you've finished your apnea breath, take your time with it. What I'd like you to do is think about the same movement, but no longer moving your body like that, keeping your pelvis neutral, your rib cage stacked. I want you to visualize that, those deep, deep muscles. So as we inhale, we're still thinking about our coccyx curling away. It's a deep muscle movement that barely moves our body. And then as we exhale, I want you to think about that coccyx drawing back underneath. I mean, there will be some movement, there always is, but we're no longer rocking our pelvis backwards and forwards. When you inhale, remember it's that idea of almost like a preparation. You're opening your body for the oxygen. And then as you exhale, that coccyx curling back underneath is the start of you pressing everything back out of your body and this lengthening in your spine. And on your 3rd one, you're going to make sure you're back at neutral completely before you do your apnea breath. So we've lined our diaphragms back up again. Good. Nice. Hold for as long as you can. And then we're going to dorsiflex our feet at the ankles. Press your heels into the floor. Squeeze an imaginary ball between your knees. Take your hands into first position, still thinking about this nice wide open position across your shoulders, across your back muscles. So into first, so right down, good. And then thinking about the breath, we're going to do our 3 nice slow breaths. And then during our apnea breath, we're going to move our hands above our head, super, super slow. So we're going to do 3, 6, and we're going to move for as long as we can. So I'm going to count to 16 and just see how far you get. So keep everything nice and tensioned because that's important. And now through that tensioning, we're going to have the subtle movement in our spine when we breathe. So ready to inhale. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close your mouth and nose. Pause. Open your ribs and moving your hands for 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling here, exhaling, bringing your knees in towards your chest. Now, once you pull your knees in towards your chest, I want you to think about dropping your sacrum on the back of your pelvis, this part of your pelvis that's kind of elevated off the floor. I want you to think about dropping that towards the floor. So you get nice lengthening in your back. Rather than pulling it in towards you, you're pulling your knees in towards you, but you're pressing your sacrum towards the floor. And then once you press your sacrum towards the floor, you can give it a rock, holding your sacrum in that nice long position. Excellent.